Hey, Kevin Coy here, and I just wanted to kind of show you my potty mouth today. Just kidding. I want to talk about a potty, so that's my potty mouth part of the potty thing. So I did a little video here. I'm just kind of introducing because we're using PEX, which is a flexible tubing product for our plumbing. Primarily because it's very easy to use. It's much less expensive than some other materials that you could use that are a little bit more difficult to install. And I wanted to show you this particular thing because we're connecting a hard line to a soft line, if you will, the PEX to copper stub out for the toilet. So the potty supply line, if you will, so that was where the potty mouth came from. So without further ado, check it out. All right, so the last piece of the equation here for the water service is we're going to go ahead and hook up the rough end for the toilet. And so what I did was I teed right into this cold water line here because it was just a good place to put it in that was not already crowded with other branches coming off. I mean, I might have been able to come out of here with it off the shower, but I just figured I'm going to stay over here in this wall. This is going to be the tidiest thing, so I went ahead and teed over, 90'd up, went through the plates up into the attic. And so I also, I just saved myself some hassle by just leaving this as one continuous line, and we're going to come over here. It comes back down into the wall at the back side of the shower. Again, no fittings, which is good. And so I just came down here, gave myself a little bit of slack, and just bent it and came right through the wall here behind this vent stack. And I'm 90 ready to come down in and hook up to the stub out. So on the toilet, since we're going to have this exposed outside of a cabinet, there's not going to be any place to hide it. I'm not going to just have a piece of tubing sticking out of the wall like I would in the vanity or the kitchen sink, because that would normally be hiding inside of a cabinet. And so we want to kind of pretty this up, make it a little bit stiffer. And so we're going to put in this copper stubbing coming out of the wall instead. So let me show you. So this is just, it's a copper tube. This is what you'd normally see sticking out on a hard pipe job that we've done, for years before PEX came along. And it's got a PEX nipple on the top here so we can clamp onto it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this strapping right here. It's a bracket, and we're gonna, you can see it's got different size holes. There's half, 3/4, 1 inch, and this is kind of a all-purpose bracket that you can use for this type of an application that gives us a good solid backing in here. So what I want to do is measure the center line. I chipped this out so you can see the toilet flange here coming up out of the concrete, and we want to be off the center of the middle of this right here, see? So I'm just going to measure from the center over to here, and then I'm going to come over 6 inches this way for my stub out and 6 inches high off the floor. That's going to get us above any baseboard you're going to have, so that you're up in the sheetrock up here, and it's still down behind the toilet, so we don't have any problem. Then the flex line will come up and connect to the toilet later. And so I went ahead and measured that. I got 6 inches over. I got my mark here for 6 inches up on the wall. I've got my tubing coming over here ready to go down. And so what I want to do is I need to line this strap up or bracket so that my 1/2 inch stub out can line up with my mark right here, 6 inches over. So I'm just going to set that up, and I've got these, I can move this back and forth. I've got all these places where I can put a screw in here, so I'm just lining that 1/2 inch hole up right here, and then I'm going to get over here and I'm centering off that at 6 inches right there, and that's going to line me up where I want to be. So I'm going to stick a couple screws in. okay? And you want to stay level. So I got my little torpedo level here. And that puts me level right there where I want to be. Where's my other screw? Get another screw in on this side. All right, I got my strap on, I'm level. I'm tied in here between the studs. This is going to line me up real nice right here. And I want to kind of line myself up right here. This is, you can have as much of this hanging out as you want. You're going to trim it back when you get ready to put a little valve on here, a little stop later on after sheetrock. So this is just giving us protection right now. So what I want to do is I'm going to solder that right there so that it stays put and I get it nice and level sticking out like that. So what you're going to need to do a little solder job here, and this is a real easy solder job. We're not trying to keep it from leaking or anything like that. This is just basically kind of tacking it in place so we don't have any issues with it moving around later. It gives it some rigidity. So we got a couple things here. I need a little brush, and this is a thing called flux, which is a sticky little paste that we put on there that helps draw the solder to the area we want it to go. So I'm just going to brush this on here, and that's gonna we warm that up, it's gonna pull that solder up to it. So this is a lead-free solder that's made for pipes, because you don't want, there's leaded solder and you don't want that. We're working with drinking water here, so we don't want to put lead in our pipe. So I got my flux on there. I'm going to heat this up now with this torch. This is a torch we use for soldering pipes. Get this warmed up. And it's going to be handy to keep a pair of pliers here, because that's going to get hot and you're not going to want to grab it with your hand. So I'll get this to the point where I can get a little solder on there. And then real quick before, okay, we went ahead and let this cool off because we didn't want to put that plastic pipe on there while it's real hot, or it's liable to melt that and cause a problem with our holding water. So went ahead and cut this piece to fit, putting my rings on, my crimps, and I'm going to slide that all the way up on there, all the way down on there, and then I got a little bit of a flex in the tubing here, so I'm going to hang on to that while I get this on there. I want to make sure I get my crimp in the right spot. Okay, just going to crimp that one down, good and snug. Get the run this one down on here, nice and tight. All right, that's the last piece we needed to do now. We got a nice solid bracketed supply line coming into our toilet. Our toilet's going to be mounted right here. We're going to cut this off after we get the sheetrock and paint and everything's done. We're going to cut this off. We're going to put on a little valve right here called a stop. And then the supply, there's going to be a flex line coming up that goes into the bottom of the toilet tank right here. And we'll have a functional toilet. So there you have it.